is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are MC.
Kauffman Stadium was not friendly to the Royals last night in a blowout loss, but with a win tonight, they can split a two-game series with the first-place Indians. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the ballpark with Royals Hall of Famer Frank White. I'm Ryan Lefevre, and yes, the Royals lost last night, 19-1. And to add injury to insult, they lost starting pitcher Kyle Davies in the very first inning.
Well, they did, Ryan, and I tell you what, when you lose your pitcher in the first inning, that makes for a long night for everybody else. And no pitcher or no player ever wants to come out of a ball game. But when Kyle Davies couldn't find the plate in the first inning, he knew something was wrong, and that's when he called for the trainer to come out, and he left the game.
No decision has been made on Kyle Davies yet. However, the Royals did make a roster move. They sent Vin Mazzaro to AAA. Everett Tiefert has been called up. He is on the roster. Danny Duffy will make his Major League debut tomorrow night. However, he is not on the roster yet. They'll make that transaction tomorrow. They're still waiting to hear about Kyle Davies. Danny Duffy will not have to face the Cleveland Indians. He'll face the Rangers tomorrow, and maybe that's a good thing.
Well, that's probably a good thing, Ryan. When you look at the Indians, the road to first place is through pitching, defense, and timely hitting. And when you see what the Indians are doing this year in all three of those categories, it's no surprise that they're in first place.
And they still have the best record in the major leagues as far as winning percentage goes. Tonight, they'll face Sean O'Sullivan. His ERA as a starter is 2.84, but his success as a starter goes back to last year. We'll tell you more about that when we come back. Royals baseball is brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. When you play, students win. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates. So it's Sean O'Sullivan to the mound tonight in 5 starts this year. He has been excellent for the Royals. But this all started at the end of last year. If you combine his last 3 starts from 2010 and his first 5 this year, he is 4-1, a 2.36 ERA, and the league is hitting just 194 against him. And Frank, this is a guy who didn't make the starting rotation out of spring training.
Well, you're right, and he did a good job of just taking advantage of the opportunity. He didn't do a good job out of the pen here when he first started, but since he moved into the starting rotation, he really feels like he doesn't have to strike everybody out. So therefore, he's been more aggressive in the strike zone and doing a great job as a starter.
Facing a lineup that leads the league in batting average and in runs scored. And here's the Indians' batting order tonight, presented by Southwest Airlines. And the news before the game last night that Grady Sizemore went on the disabled list. So Michael Brantley moves to center field. He leads off, and he has a career-high 4 RBIs. And Michael Brantley not only getting on base, hitting for a high average, but driving in those runs last night. He had a 3-run home run in the Indians' 10-run 4th inning. It's the Indians and the Royals, and the first pitch is next. Kauffman Stadium in high definition, brought to you by Time Warner Cable. Get no fee HD with digital TV from Time Warner Cable. That's a look at the right field side of Kauffman Stadium. In left field tonight is Joe Goldberg.
Well, out by the bullpen, Ryan, and a bullpen that had 5 rookies now has 6. Interesting, though, to note that the newest rookie ends up being the oldest member of the bullpen, and that doesn't mean that you can skip bringing in the Bieber bag. Everett Teaford officially now will carry out the Bieber bag. He turned 27 on Sunday. Joakim Soria, the next oldest member of the bullpen, turns 27 tomorrow. So at 27 years old, Everett Teaford set to make his major league debut. Ryan and Frank, back upstairs to you.
But it's not about age, Frank White. It's about major league service time, right?
It's when you get here.
So Sean O'Sullivan, he's been excellent in 5 starts this year. His ERA is under 3, 2.84 as a starter, and making his second start against the Indians. He'll get Michael Brantley, Asdrubal Cabrera, and Shin-Soo Choo. The Indians scored 2 of their 19 runs in the first inning last night. Before the game, the Indians learned that Grady Sizemore was going on the disabled list because of a bruise to his right knee. So Brantley goes back to leading off. He has actually led off more this year than Sizemore. It's Sizemore's second time on the disabled list. And all Brantley did last night was go 2 for 4 with a couple of walks and had a career high 4 runs driven in. He hit his 4th home run of the year. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And whether it's Brantley or Sizemore, it is an Indians leadoff hitter punishing the Royals, hitting .472 with 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. Those are numbers that you'd expect from guys in the middle of the order, not the top of the order.
Well, Brantley's the kind of guy that he'd probably be a good number 2 hitter also, but they put him in the back of the order in that 6, 7 slot. And with those guys getting on base, he could be just as dangerous back there.
And that stroke to right field. Francoeur runs into the sun and now runs into the wall. So Brantley picks up where he left off last night, and right away the Indians have a runner at second base.
Well, Brantley's got one zone, Ryan, and look what his pitch is. Anytime he can get his arms extended down, he hasn't missed this pitch all year. He squared it up. I hadn't almost gotten a hit off of this pitch, but he's definitely hit it hard. And this ball's over Francoeur's head before he can even take a few steps back.
So that means Indians leadoff hitters are now hitting .486 against the Royals this year. Now Asdrubal Cabrera, and we'll see how the Indians play it. And you would expect that they would play for a big inning after getting 19 runs, 20 hits last night. But Cabrera is a good bat control guy. He can always lay down a bunt. He has hit in 7 straight games after getting 2 hits last night, and is batting .289. And now he lays down a bunt. Bedamit comes in from third and throws him out, and Brantley moves up to third base. Another pleasant night at Kauffman Stadium, 65 degrees, so 1 degree cooler than last night. We started right on time, as Buck O'Neil would say. And the time and temp is brought to you by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. No matter where it was or what time it was, Buck O'Neil was always right on time. Shin-Soo Choo has driven in 9 runs against the Royals this year. That's 9 out of his 19 this year. 2 out of 5. Couple of runs scored last night.
Ryan, what you saw there with Asdrubal Cabrera is you saw a guy who is playing for the team. You know, he could have selfishly tried to get a base hit there, but he moved that runner to third base, and now they're looking at a first and third with Choo being hit by this pitch.
That's one way to set up a ground ball in a double play. Here are the Royals defensively tonight, presented by Ram Trucks. Gordon, Cabrera, Francoeur in the outfield. Bedamit, Escobar, Aviles, Hosmer around the horn. Same infield as last night. And Matt Trainer is behind the plate. So Brantley at third base. Choo at first. And Carlos Santana at the plate. Santana opened his night last night with 3 consecutive walks. He's batting .222. The Indians love the way he works the count, especially for a player his age. Very little major league playing time. His on base percentage is .357, which isn't astronomical, but that's 135 points higher than his batting average. So he is getting on base even with the low average.
Well, it's all about production. Now, if you can produce with a low average and the average comes along, you're going to be that much better.
Curveball hangs high, 2-0.
Chu leads the Indians in stolen bases, so I don't see him being at first base too long. Right now with a 2-0 count, you don't really like to run 2-0 because that's a good pitch for the hitter, and they don't want to be distracted. But the way the Indians are playing ball now, they're taking advantage of everything they can.
And now 3 balls, no strikes with Travis Hafner on deck. Sean O'Sullivan on Thursday at the Yankees beat New York 11-5, so big run support. Only walked 2 in 6 2/3, and that's an accomplishment with all the veteran hitters that are known for working long counts, getting on base by way of a walk. And now a 4-pitch walk, so he's given the Indians 2 runners in the inning, a hit batter, and now a base on balls.
You know what you really hope is that the way the Indians swung the bat last night, you just hope that Sean O'Sullivan, obviously he saw it or he read about it or heard about it, but you just hope he's not coming out tonight pitching tentative, thinking about what happened last night. You still got to pitch your game, get ahead of the hitters, and make them hit your pitch.
Travis Hafner drove in 3 runs last night with 1 swing, a bases loaded double, and now he drives one with the bases loaded into the right field corner. 2 runs will score. Santana will be waved home. 2 nights in a row, Travis Hafner clears the bases with a double.
Well, look at the location. This pitch is supposed to have been away. It's just right down the middle of Hafner. He's not going to miss this pitch, Ryan. Just right where he likes it, right down in the corner. He's been swinging it back very well for the Indians this year. This ball goes down in the corner. Francoeur gets it back, but by the time he gets it back to the infield, 3 runs across home plate. Then you see Santana coming. That's a long run for a catcher, but he gets there.
Good curveball buckles Orlando Cabrera. Told you last night back in 06, Travis Hafner tied a major league record with 6 grand slams. So batting with the bases loaded has been a strength for him. Shallow center, Melky Cabrera is there to get Orlando Cabrera. 2 down. Sean O'Sullivan on Thursday, he retired the first 13 Yankees, and then New York scored 4 in the 5th inning. Ned Yost stuck with O'Sullivan. He still had a 4-run lead, and then he retired 7 of the next 8. Very similar to his outing before that against the Oakland A's. He retired 11 in a row. Then he gave up 3 runs, and then he retired 11 in a row again. So the form chart, if you will, is strong start, hits a little bump in the middle of the game, and then is able to put it together. But the Indians smash that with a 3-run first inning tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike on Travis Buck.
Well, Sean just had have 2 things going against him in this inning, Ryan. First, pitching behind, and then pitching up in the zone, and then you having to come in there to these hitters. And then the way the Indians are swinging the bat right now, they're not missing many pitches down the middle of the plate.
2 balls, 1 strike. Travis Buck with 3 hits, 3 runs scored. He was called up, and Grady Sizemore went on the DL. Biggest challenge for Travis Buck in his career has been to stay off the disabled list. Former 1st-round pick of the Oakland A's. He's been on the DL 4 times since 2007. That's in the major leagues. He has also been on the DL 3 times in the minor leagues during that span. So 7 times since 2007. Good changeup. The inning is over, but the Indians strike for 3 in the first. Last night, and now a big inning in the first inning tonight. Here's Ned Yost's lineup presented by Southwest Airlines, and Ned going with the same 9 tonight as he did last night. However, because of the blowout game, he was able to get several of the regulars out early, like Melky Cabrera, Jeff Francoeur, and Matt Trainer, as well as Alcides Escobar. Tonight the Royals face right-hander Carlos Carrasco.
Well, Ryan, Carlos Carrasco has a great fastball with a lot of movement down. He's got a good changeup, but they want to see him try to pitch more aggressively in the strike zone and make his changeup play a little better.
Oh, and 1 on Mike Avila, so for 4 last night. And now just 3 for his last 21. So his average down to 243. Down, no balls, 2 strikes.
There's been a comparison between Carrasco and Luke Hochevar. Both have 94, 95 mile-an-hour fastballs. They have all the other pitches to go with it, but they really just haven't discovered what type of pitchers they want to be yet. Whether they want to be a power pitcher or they want to be a finesse pitcher. So they both in that little gray area, and they want Carrasco to be more forceful with his fastball and let the other things follow the fastball.
Good size, 6'3", 215 pounds. He is 24. He is from Venezuela, and he is originally out of the Phillies organization. They signed him as a 16-year-old in 03, and he was the Phillies' #2 prospect in 2009 when he was traded to the Indians with 3 others for Cliff Lee. There's a good breaking ball down and away that mixes up Mike Aviles, and there is 1 away. So 2 years from now, Carlos Carrasco will be 26 years old. And speaking of 26 years old, TJ McGinnis, our fine producer for Royals Live pre and post, celebrates his 26th birthday tonight. So happy birthday, TJ.
Happy birthday, TJ, from us up here.
One ball, 1 strike. We hear that TJ's parents are here tonight watching him work, celebrating his birthday. We expect that TJ will take his folks out to either Rivals or the 390 Bar and Grill tonight, buy them dinner, anything they want on the menu. I mean, he's a big time producer.
I agree.
Melky Cabrera won a game for the Royals back in April with a swing like that in the bottom of the 9th inning. So he's on with 1 out in the bottom of the first.
Carrasco stayed primarily with his fastball in this at bat, tried to be more aggressive with it. This one was tailing away, and Cabrera does a great job tracking this ball and serving it into left field. You can just see right here, Ryan, he stays behind it, hands out front, hands roll after contact, ball goes to left field. That's a great look at a swing where you're trying to hit to the opposite field.
And now a strike on Alex Gordon. 1 out of 4 with a triple and the only run scored for the Royals last night. He has really enjoyed hitting at Kauffman Stadium this year in particular. All 3 of his home runs have been hit here. He has hit 14 doubles this season, which is the 3rd most in the league. And 11 of those 14 doubles have been here, and 19 of 23 RBIs hit at Kauffman Stadium. Cabrera started, then stopped, and it's 2-1 on Alex.
You know, Ryan, it'd be nice to take some of that offense on the road with some of those smaller ballparks that are real conducive to left-handed hitting. If he can balance it out on the road, you're probably looking at a pretty good year from Alex this year.
Now Cabrera, same thing. Starts, then stops, and it's 3 balls, 1 strike. So maybe that's exactly what he wants to do. Maybe no intention of stealing at all, just trying to disrupt Carrasco and perhaps catcher Carlos Santana, because after 2 or 3 steps, the entire defense is going to yell going, meaning that Cabrera is taking off. This time he means it, and Alex fouls it away.
Well, he had a little protection on that count, being a 3-1 count. He knew that Alex might get something decent to swing at. It's sort of like a built-in hit and run, where he's actually trying to steal a base and not treat it as a hit and run, and Alex is trying to pick his pitch to try to drive it. So anything he can hit in the alley, now you got a chance to score that run.
Running again. Alex strikes out. Santana's throw arrives late. There are 2 down. Carrasco has struck out 2.
You know what I really like about that still the base here, Ryan, is that it's 3-2 count. A lot of base runners put the pressure on the hitter to try to put the ball in play here, where Cabrera went with the intent that I'm going to steal this base. And that's what you have to do in that situation.
And that brings up Billy Butler, who drove in the only run for the Royals last night, his 17th of the year. He was 1 for 4 with a double. Good numbers for Billy against Carrasco. 8 at-bats, 5 hits, and a home run. That figures out to 625. Carrasco faced the Royals back on the 18th of April. The Indians won that game. Carrasco ended up with a no decision. Indians scored 4 runs in the 10th inning to beat the Royals. One of many extra inning games for the Royals this year. Drilled to left center field. Long run for Brantley, and he runs it down. He outruns the baseball. And the Royals are scoreless in the first.
Liberty, Missouri.
And I'm Heather from Liberty, Missouri.
And I'm Jessica from Kearney, Missouri.
And we have a question for the announcers. Who is the best Royals rookie pitcher you have seen?
Well, Frank, I'm not sure if she is referring to just this year or maybe since you've been a Royal, the best rookie pitcher you've seen. Is there one that stands out in your long career as a player, coach, and broadcaster? One rookie pitcher among everyone else?
Well, I think Dennis Leonard was one of the best rookie pitchers I've seen. You know, he didn't get the Cy Young Award, and that just kind of leads you to Brett Saberhagen right after that. But those would be two guys that I would kind of think of right away as being two dominant right-handed pitchers as rookies.
Indians with 3 runs in the first inning against Sean O'Sullivan, and he's off to a good start in the second. That's back-to-back strikeouts, hitting Matt Laporta here and Travis Buck for the final out of the first. Well, as far as the best rookie pitcher I've seen, gosh. Now, I mean this just being truthful. I haven't seen a lot of good pitching in my 13 years here. One of them pops into my mind. I'm thinking more appearance than I am how that particular pitcher's career played out with the Royals, but I'm thinking about, and maybe it's just fresh in my mind from a discussion last night, but Chad Durbin's major league debut back in '99 when he had been home for a couple of weeks, came up from Double-A, pitched at Tiger Stadium with the bases loaded coming out of the bullpen and got out of that. And then, of course, you know, Zach Greinke's major league debut in Oakland when he faced his first jam, bases loaded, 1 out, and facing Eric Chavez, who was one of the most feared left-hand hitters in the league at that time. And that was the first time he threw that big slow curveball, and he did it with the count 3-2 and the bases loaded. I mean, you talk about guts. And Eric Chavez tried to wait back as long as he could. He hadn't seen a pitch like that since American Legion ball. And he hit a little ground ball to second. The Royals turned to double play, and we all just looked at one another and went, "Are you kidding me?" Because most young pitchers would feel like, well, I'm going to throw it up there as hard as I can. It'd be almost like panic mode. But Zach, as we would come to find out in the years after that, was a little different from everybody else.
Well, we sure did. I talked to Chad before the game, Ryan, and he was referring to the 14 runs that Mazzaro gave up last night. He said he did it, but he did it differently. He said he pitched a total of an inning and 2/3, and he gave up 14 runs in back-to-back starts combined, and they only pitched a total of inning and 2/3 that whole time.
Rolled to first, and Hosmer kicks the bag in front of Jack Hanahan. 2 down in the second inning.
Sean's been a little more aggressive on the off speed. This inning, Ryan, he just had the changeup working. That changeup is down. He uses curveball in this inning. So you got to be a little more versatile, especially when your fastball command is not quite where you want it to be. So you have to go to your secondary pitches, which he's done a good job of this year, discovering it, knowing when to go to it. And that's always the key. You throw 4 or 5 fastballs out of the strike zone, and you got to go somewhere else. And so far, he's been able to make that adjustment pretty quickly.
So 2 down to Michael Brantley, who started the 3-run first with a game-opening double. There's a 68-mile-an-hour curveball for a strike. Brantley doubled with 1 out. Shin-Soo Choo was hit by a pitch, and Carlos Santana walked, and Travis Hafner, for the second game in a row, hit a 3-run double. No balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's a real nice slider right there. I mean, he followed a real slow curveball and he comes back with a harder slider underneath his swing.
Home plate umpire Chris Guccione telling us that there was slight contact on that foul tip. Still no balls and 2 strikes on Brantley. Brantley now has hit in 6 straight games, and his average is up to 309 with that first inning double. That pitch stayed up. It's hit hard, but it's hit right to Francoeur. So after giving up 3 in the first, O'Sullivan has a quiet second inning. The second inning, and here's a look at tonight's You Call It question presented by Sprint. The Royals have a tough homestand. Cleveland Indians 4-2, they're in first place. Texas Rangers for 2, they're in second place. And the St. Louis Cardinals 4-3, they are in second place. And let me take that back. Texas won last night. The Angels lost, so a first place team perhaps, and the Rangers will be on their way to Kauffman Stadium for a game tomorrow night. Text 432 432, enter keyword Royals followed by a space, then A, B, or C. And remember, if you send in your text, you'll get a bounce back text message from Sprint with directions on how you can register to win a suite here at Kauffman Stadium for you and 11 guests to a future Royals game. 2 balls and 1 strike on Jeff Francoeur, who had only 2 at-bats last night. Ned Yost taking some of his regulars out after the Indians scored 10 in the 4th inning. Mitch Meyer finished the game in right. Good changeup, makes it 2-2. This is game number 41 for the Royals, and Francoeur has played in 40 of the 41 games. He has never been on a major league disabled list, and in his first 2 major league seasons, 2006-2007, he played in all 162 games for the Braves. So he's a gamer. Off the plate, tough play for Hanahan, but a good glove man, and he throws out Francoeur. Speaking of the Cardinals, they're here Friday night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. Great tickets still available for all 3 games. Fireworks Friday, and then don't forget, it's a 1:10 game on Saturday, and then a family fun day Sunday for the final game of the series. Call 1-800-6-ROYALS for tickets or go online at royals.com. Ball 1 to Eric Hosmer. 1 for 4 with a double last night, putting an end to an 0 for 10. He checks in tonight at 2:42. And that's hit very well to center field. Brantley is back again, and he can't catch up to this one. It's up against the wall, and now Brantley with some difficulty picking it up, Hosmer running all the way, and he has a one-out triple.
You always wondered about the high fastball, and here he jumps all over a high fastball in this big ballpark. He drives it over Brantley's head. He got through this ball very well. And now it's off to the races here, and a lot of people don't realize how well he does run. Once he sees the ball fall, he checks in at second base, sees Brantley has a little trouble with it, and heads on over to third base.
And ends it with a head-first slide. So runner at third with one out, and Bedamit hits it back to the mound on 2 hops. No place for Hosmer to go. So that's not what Bedamit and the Royals had in mind, and now Hosmer's at third with 2 outs.
Well, just getting a good pitch to hit was key right there. He had a pitch up, then he just rolled over on it before he made contact, and that's what brought the ball back to the mound.
Royals would love to have a big night on offense for many reasons, but more than anything, just to break out of a current skid. They have only 2 runs scored in their last 3 games, going back to the Detroit series. On Thursday in New York, they had 11 runs on a season-high 16 hits. But then 1 run on Friday in Detroit, shut out on Saturday, and just 1 run last night. Outside ball 1 to Matt Traynor, who's been swinging the bat well. He had a good road trip through New York and Detroit, and then batted once last night and doubled. Brian Pena finished the game behind the plate. Up the middle and into center field. So Traynor keeps swinging the hot stick, and the Royals are on the board.
The pitcher stays out in the middle of the plate. It's just right down the middle. Traynor doesn't try to do much with it. Just hit it right back through the middle of the field. And there's a lot of hits in the middle of the field. And as Kevin Seitzer would say, and Matt Traynor plays hostile with that base hit. But just getting back to what you're talking about, the lack of run scoring, Ryan. That a lot of times you run into a hot pitcher, and you run into some good pitching in a row. That first one that you run into can put your team in a slump. Because, like they faced Verlander, and ever since then they've had trouble scoring runs. And I think that game before against Nova, he wasn't very sharp, and they really feasted on it. So sometimes it's kind of like facing a knuckleball. Sometimes they can put you in a slump. It just takes a couple key hits to get you going back the right way.
Escobar came out early last night. He was 0 for 2. 1 ball, 1 strike here against Carlos Carrasco. Batting average down to 217. Although you don't hear anybody complaining about what he's doing at the plate because of what he's done with the glove. One and two. Two and two. This is Carlos Carrasco's second start since coming back from the disabled list. On with a sore right elbow on April the 27th. Came back on Wednesday against Tampa Bay, took the loss. And that was a notable loss for the Indians. It snapped their 14-game home winning streak. The Indians have a winning record on the road with last night's victory. They are 10-9 away from Cleveland, but at home they are 15-4. And with the Tigers losing last night to Toronto, the Indians have a 4.5 game lead in the Central. And Escobar giving Carrasco a good battle. They're stuck on 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cleveland has done an excellent job this year jumping out early. In game 1 of their series this year, they're 11-3, which is the second most wins in the American League, behind the Blue Jays. Only the Blue Jays have a better record in game 1. So they've been off and running in just about every series they've played, and we're going to have a manager come to town this weekend, Tony La Russa. And Tony La Russa, his entire managing career, at least with the A's and the Cardinals, would do everything he could to win game 1. He wanted to take game 1 more than anything else, because obviously that makes it much easier to win the series. Carrasco wins this long battle. If Santana can make a good throw, that's the inning. The Royals get a 2-out RBI single from Matt Trainer, and they're on the board. Royals baseball is brought to you by AT&T, the nation's fastest mobile broadband network. By Panera Bread Catering. Order online at PaneraKansas.com. By Chevy. See your Kansas City area Chevy dealers. And by Steel. Are you ready for a steal? After some crummy weather in Detroit, we've had 2 great days here in Kansas City. 66 degrees last night at first pitch, 65 tonight with a gentle breeze blowing in from the northeast. So spring has been a little longer this year than normal.
It's been beautiful.
I think the last 5 years spring was on a Wednesday. No balls, 2 strikes on Asdrubal Cabrera. He dropped down a sac bunt in the middle of the Indians' 3-run first inning. 3-run scoring on Travis Hafner's bases clearing double.
You know, Ron, I was talking to hitting coach John Nunley about Asdrubal and trying to figure out why he's off to such a good start, you know, from a productive standpoint. And he said the one thing that he hadn't done in a long time was play winter ball. And he said he convinced him that he should go play winter ball this year, and then he got off to a better start coming into spring training.
John Nunley made his big league debut with the Royals in 1995 as a Rule 5 player, and he hit a home run in his first major league at bat off of the Yankees' Melito Perez.
You know, John said he's not a real believer in staying inside the ball, because sometimes by staying inside the ball, it forces you to raise that elbow, and when you raise the elbow, your bat head gets below the ball. And so he believes in focusing on the bat head and throwing the bat head above the ball and through the ball. And that's why he says that I want to hit doubles, I want to drive the ball, and that's the way you drive the ball.
slapped up the left field side, and Alex Gordon brings it down. So Sean O'Sullivan, since the 3-run double, has retired 6 in a row. Tonight is a carsoup.com email the booth night. Go to carsoup.com/Royals. Once you're there, CarSoup asks for your zip code. Once you fill that in, you'll be sent to a different page where you can submit your question. Ball 1 to Shin-Soo Choo. He was hit by a pitch in the first inning. Then Carlos Santana walked to load the bases, and Travis Hafner got 3 home with the double. One ball, 1 strike. Before we get to Joel, who handles our carsoup.com questions, I had somebody send me a question, Joel. It's from Bob in Grandview. Bob wants to know, Joel, what do you think you add to the broadcast when you come on and ask the carsoup.com questions?
See, the problem is that in New York, Bob, oh, there I am on TV. Say hi, Bob. This is what Bob is. What do they want from me? Bob was sitting in the press box, and he actually could see us. And he was disappointed that I was getting so much airtime last time. Because he could see right in the glass into the press box. He said, what could you possibly be in there for? And then he probably threw up his hands like that.
Well, he asked me, and I said I can answer that question for you right now. Joel brings plenty to the broadcast when he does the questions, but Bob Dutton, who's a good buddy of Joel's, still wanted me to ask that on the air so that you would answer it. And I don't know why he's throwing his arms in the air, because he knows exactly what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, well, he's going to start throwing things in a second. Here's a Car Soup question from the other day. I think it's a good one and appropriate with Everett Tiford being called up today. This is from Joyce Boyk in Blue Springs. When a player is called up from Omaha for the first time, do the Royals have places for them to live? There are a lot of arrangements that need to be made, right, guys?
Well, I think they get usually like 2 or 3 days in the hotel before they. A lot of times they don't know how long they're going to be here, and if they've got another teammate, they might bunk with that teammate for a while until they figure out what their situation is going to be. They're not going to go out and get an apartment right away until they understand that they're going to be here for a while.
Tiford's different, though. He's looking at homes in Mission Hills right now.
He is a character, and I don't know if you heard the story that Nate told on the pregame show today about late last night Everett calling home to his parents. He couldn't get a hold of his mom because she had, I think, her phone, cell phone had run out, the battery run out, and she left the charger at the friend's house, and he called his dad and woke him up, and he was half asleep and didn't really respond to it the way you would expect a parent to respond when their kid gets called up for the first time. Oh, really? When are you leaving tomorrow? Okay, goodbye. He said his dad figured it out about a half hour later, so almost like somebody playing a prank there on Everett.
2 balls, no strikes on Carlos Santana. He almost swings out of his shoes. 2-1.
Well, we noticed last night how aggressively he does swing, and that's a 2-seamer right here, and this ball goes down and away from his bat. And you can tell right there he likes the ball middle in, and he wants to turn on it, and preferably a little down in the zone.
Chance for 2. Aviles. They need a quick turn, and Escobar couldn't do it, and no fault of his own. Shin-Soo Choo was right in his lap. So with 2 down, Santana's at first.
Well, this is just recognizing the situation and what you can get out of this, and he knows it's only going to be a 1-out play, but when you get 1 out, you got to get out of there. You don't want to hang around and give that runner a chance to get into your legs. So you can recognize a 1-out play and just clear the area and give up on the play. You can see right here, shoes all over him. You know it's going to just be a 1-out play. Don't give that runner a chance.
Santana stole a base last night. It was his first of the year, so he doesn't run often, but he will run. Probably won't run here with 2 outs and Travis Hafner at the plate. Hafner has driven in 6 in the first 2 games. He has 2 3-run doubles.
Well, Sean has fallen into a pattern the last 3 or 4 hitters, Ryan, is starting him off with that slow curveball, so he's going to have to be careful as you get into the game with runners on base, because those veteran guys, they'll look at that and they'll see that pattern. They'll start to look for that pitch.
That curveball hangs high and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. After now with 22 RBIs with that 3-run first inning double.
And he's got a nice little shift on him right here. And the Royals have got him defense. Now you have to pitch into the defense.
The pitch rides away. 2 balls, 1 strike. Two and two. And Hafner yelling at himself. He thought he should have done more with that pitch. Tonight's You Call It question presented by Sprint. The toughest opponent for the Royals on this homestand. Right now, the Indians and Rangers are in first place. Cardinals are in second place. 59% going with the Indians. It may or may not, but it may have something to do with a 19-1 win last night. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that would be hard not to remember the next day, especially from a fan standpoint. The players themselves, they try to get over a beating like that because they feel like there's nothing we could have done to change the course of this game. So let's get it behind us, move on to the next game, where in the 1-run game, a 2-1 game, you might have had a couple opportunities to score runs that don't get them plated. And now you work. Those are the games that kind of stick with you. Those are the games you say, man, we should have won that game.
Center field, Melky Cabrera continues to back up. He makes the catch, and the Indians are scoreless in the 3rd. This is Arlen Byert, a tireless and selfless volunteer who repairs the homes of low-income seniors in Kansas City's urban core. He recently helped repair 52 homes. That's 1 for each week of the year. Arlen also volunteers twice monthly to distribute food through Metro Lutheran Ministry. And he is enjoying the game tonight in the Buck O'Neil Legacy seat. Indians with 3 in the first. Royals got a run in the second on Matt Trainor's 2-out RBI single. So top of the order. Mike Avila struck out first time. Carrasco got him on a curveball down and away. 3 strikeouts, no walks for Carlos Carrasco. Aviles will be followed by Melky Cabrera and then Alex Gordon. 1-2. Backhanded by Cabrera and right on the money to Laporta. I tell you, the good shortstops make that play look so easy. That is a long throw, and the fielder is running away from the play.
Well, you're right, and that, you know, that's why you like those guys that can get the ball and get rid of it quickly and accurately. And as Dribble, he does that. He gets around the ball, backhanded, switches to the throwing hand, and excellent throw to first base. I talked to both those guys today in batting practice, to both the Cabreras. I said, how come you guys are playing so well this year up the middle? And Orlando said, all we're trying to do is do the basic stuff. Just make the routine play. Don't try to be fancy. Just take the outs when we can get the outs, and don't try to make something out of nothing.
And only Frank can start a story about Orlando Cabrera, and makes Melky Cabrera hit one to him right on cue. Nice job, Frank. 2 down in the third.
Didn't know what I was doing, but thank you.
As Drubal is from Venezuela, Orlando Cabrera is from Colombia. And you don't think of Colombia as being a baseball hotbed, but Orlando is from the eastern part of the country, so very close to the Venezuelan border. So that's where the baseball influence spreads into a small part of Colombia. Back in 2004, Orlando Cabrera was playing shortstop for the Boston Red Sox, and they beat the St. Louis Cardinals in the World Series. And the Cardinals shortstop was Edgar Renteria, also from Colombia.
Oh, I played in Colombia.
You did?
1971.
Was the coffee good?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. I was so young, I didn't know what it was all about back in those days. I was in the baseball academy. We went over as part of a goodwill tour, and we went to Panama, Colombia, down Central America. And it was just a great trip for us. Nicaragua was part of that. And that's where we faced Dennis Martinez for the first time. He was 19 years old.
If you have any questions about Frank's travels to Colombia, tonight is a carsoup.com email the booth night. Go to carsoup.com/Royals. Once you're there, you'll have to fill in your zip code, and you'll be sent to a different page where you can submit your question. Joel is on the other end receiving your questions and will join us periodically tonight. Now that looks like it might be headed to nope, wrong direction. I was going to say that looks like something that might be coming from Whiteman. Okay, it is coming from Whiteman, but not heading towards Whiteman. Alex struck out swinging in the first inning. He's had some difficulty with Carrasco. 1 out of 7 with 5 strikeouts.
Yeah, Carrasco's breaking balls really got his swing limping out, and that makes that fastball a little bit faster, and it gets him a little slow. So right now he's kind of like in the middle between the fastball and the breaking ball.
Works a full count. If he gets on, Billy Butler is on deck. And Alex walks with 2 outs. Carrasco's first walk tonight, and now he'll deal with Billy Butler. We will tell you that tomorrow night the Rangers are in town for a 7-10 game. It's another Inc. student night with $7 and a valid high school or college ID. You'll get a ticket to the ball game for another $7. You can get a hot dog and a beverage. Tomorrow is another Inc. local music showcase with support from 96.5 The Buzz, featuring live pregame music from Rex Hobart and the Misery Boys. Gates open at 5:30. The Misery Boys, as far as Billy Butler is concerned, would be beginning with center fielder Michael Brantley. Billy lined one to deep center field in the first inning with a runner in scoring position, but Brantley outran the ball and made the play. the Misery Boys as a group would be the outfield in general. The Tigers were running down everything he hit hard over the weekend.
Well, that's true. And then when you watch good center fielders play, that's one of the fun part of coming to a baseball game. When you got a guy in center field with great speed, because they cover more ground than anyone else out there. When they can run down those plays, those in the alley, I don't think there's anything prettier.
I don't know if Alex got a bad break or maybe he was leaning towards second base.
Whoops.
Two balls, no strikes. That was a rare out for Billy Butler against Carrasco. He had been 5 for 8. So he had another good swing against him, but Brantley took an extra base hit away. There's that movement that Frank was talking about. Riding back in over the strike zone, 2-1.
Well, if that's a pitch that Billy Butler was looking for, you sure hate to take that pitch on 2-0. You're really looking to try to drive that pitch.
Now 2-2. Well, the pitch before that had a lot of movement. That one not as much. So maybe Billy was convinced he was going to get something other than a fastball on 2-1.
Well, both those pitches right down the heart of the plate. And 2-0, you got to really be ready to swing 2-0. 2-1, you come on. Maybe Billy's sitting on an off-speed pitch, but here he's got to just try to look to protect on a 2-2 count.
Alex runs and Billy rolls it to the right side. Laporta turns around and back to the bag to end the inning. 3-1 Indians at the end of 3. Fourth inning, and a look at tonight's Roadrunner Turbo Speed Pitch comparison. Carlos Carrasco up to 97. Sean O'Sullivan at 93. Now fast is even faster. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo. Sean O'Sullivan gave up 3 runs in the first inning. Travis Hafner with a 3-run double. And now O'Sullivan has retired 8 of the last 9. Cabrera lines a base hit into center field. He is 1 for 2. Frank, as you know, tonight is Nurse Appreciation Night at Kauffman Stadium. Well, these nurses love the Royals, and I promised my wife Sarah that I would mention Nurse Appreciation Night tonight. because she is a nurse.
Well, they ought to definitely to be appreciated. That's for sure. That's not easy work. And my sister's a nurse, and it's difficult work at times.
Travis Buck struck out swinging at a changeup in the first inning. 2 strikeouts for Sean O'Sullivan. His last start against the Yankees and the start before that did not produce any strikeouts at all. Not that Sean is a strikeout type pitcher, but back-to-back starts without one single strikeout, and that's over 14 2/3 innings. Now, when he faced the Indians back on April the 21st, he struck out 6, which tied a career high. And I think that's tells you more about the type of pitcher that he is. That still young in his major league career, but at the same time, he's had quite a few appearances and quite a few starts, but the most strikeouts he has had is 6. His game is contact.
You know, most of the pitching coaches will tell their young pitchers, you know, pitch to contact and you'll get more outs. You pitch away from contact, you give up more runs because you're going to put yourself in a situation where you have to throw a ball down the middle of the plate and the hitters are going to be waiting for you. Always control the game from an head standpoint, just getting ahead in the count and you in control. You behind in the count, the hitter's in control.
Two and 2 on Buck. Now it's headed back to Whiteman. Are those rocket launchers underneath the wings there?
Well, it looks kind of spooky to
me. There's something hanging underneath those. I'm glad that thing's on my side. Alex makes the catch in left field. Buck is 0 for 2, and Cabrera backpedals to first base.
You know, this some good hitting right here. I mean, Buck stays on this pitch. This is a little off the plate, but he tracks this ball and drives it to left field. So there's a good indication he might be seeing the ball a little bit better too. That ball's on the outer half, and normally a pitcher can get away without having that ball hit as well as that ball was. So maybe pitching inside a little bit more would help him set that pitch up a lot better.
Matt Laporta tied a career high with 4 hits last night. Also walked 1, so he was on base 5 times. He drove in 4 runs. Hit hard but pulled foul. Tonight he is 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Of his base hits, a single to right, so the opposite field. A double up the left field line, he pulled that. A double to left center field, and a single to left. So he was hitting the ball to all fields, and that was one of the first things that his manager Manny Acta talked about after the game, that Laporta has all the ability in the world. He can hit anybody's fastball. One of those doubles was off of a Jeremy Jeffress fastball, but it's just a matter of whether he's willing to hit the ball to all fields rather than just being a one field hitter.
You know, a lot of times when a guy doesn't have the ability to go the other way, and that's not uncommon in some hitters. Some hitters just can't hit the ball the other way when they want to hit the ball the other way. So those hitters tend to crowd the plate a little bit more and try to take more of the plate away. So if the pitcher does it pitch inside and miss, then he's got a chance to catch him, just like he did with Jeffrey's fastball last night. Middle in, up just a little bit, but it's where he likes it, inside, and he was able to turn on it. Some hitters don't like to reach for the ball, so they crowd the plate a little bit more.
Two balls, 2 strikes. I remember somebody telling me once that many times a hitter will tell you what type of a hitter he is just by how he sets up.
And that's true.
If he's close to the plate, he likes to pull the ball. If he's off the plate, he likes to get his arms extended and go the other way.
And it just depends on whether or not the pitcher can make the pitches they need to make. some hitters would make adjustments to the ballpark they're in. I would always crowd the plate in Boston because I thought if they came inside and missed, I could still get one on the wall. So it just depends a lot of times on where you play.
I just don't think guys hit like you did these days. I think they have one place in the batter's box and that's it. They have one type of a swing and that's it. They have one, borrowing a term that Luke Hochaver introduced to us, one nitro zone. You've talked about guys just have groove swings. They're not as, hitters aren't as creative these days as they used to be.
No, I think you got a good example of that last night with Orlando Cabrera, on the hit and run. His ball was well off the plate in the dirt. He still threw his bat at the ball, just trying to protect the runner. And a lot of guys who got that groove and stay inside the ball swing, they wouldn't know to do that.
Cabrera runs and it's fouled away again. And we've discussed so many times about how, and I think it will get better with more speed in the game and less power, but situational hitting isn't what it used to be. I mean, a guy hits a ground ball to the right side and advances the runner. I mean, they get a hero's welcome when they go into the dugout, where that used to be your job. But I agree with you. I've really thought a lot about what you said, and that grooved swing concept makes it difficult for them to be creative. Matt Laporta was down, no balls, 2 strikes, but he climbs out of the hole and takes a walk with 1 out, and the Indians have 2 on.
We watch a guy like Vladimir Guerrero, when we watch him hit, and everybody says, well, he's a good bad ball hitter, but he's just an old school hitter where you're supposed to take the bat hit to the ball. You want to stay above the ball wherever it is. And if you had to adjust to the height of the ball, you can adjust the height of the ball. A lot of guys can't get up with the ball because they have that inside out swing and the ball's got to be in that one area.
So 2 on, 1 out. And inside to Jack Hanahan. He grounded out in the 2nd inning, hitting .385 before that against the Royals this year.
I think if you're a fan watching the game and you see the hit and run, always try to look at where the ball's hit. And the most times on a hit and run, all you want the ball is hit hard either to the shortstop or hard on the ground to the second baseman, and hope you're picking the right guy covering and you get a base hit. Early in the game, sometimes the manager put a hit and run on, he'll let the hitter try to drive the ball for a double, but late in the game he wants the ball on the ground because he's trying to create a 1st and 3rd situation.
Line to center field, 1 hop to Melky Cabrera. So Orlando Cabrera is held at 3rd, and that was a good decision by 3rd base coach Steve Smith. But the Indians have the bases loaded with 1 out.
Melky does a good job coming in and charging this base hit to center field. And normally you're going to score on a ball like this, but he lets a, the good thing about that throw is just high enough, that Laporta couldn't look at it and say, okay, I'm going to go to second base on it. So it just, I'm sorry, Hanahan couldn't look up, but it's just high enough that he had to hold at first base.
So they're loaded up for Michael Brantley, who is 1 for 2. A double to right field and a line out to right field. So before the Royals think about pitching to him, Bob McClure wants to go out and make sure O'Sullivan and Trainer are ready for Brantley.
Well, they started him off with the slow curveball his last at bat, and then he came back with a harder breaking ball underneath his swing. So they just got to be creative in how they want to approach him in this at bat. Do you want to stay with the same approach, or do you want to go fastball either in or away?
Oh and 1. Brantley established a new career high last night with 4 RBIs. It is 4th home run of the year, a 3-run home run in the Indians' 10-run 4th. You know, one of the amazing things about that big inning, when you go back and look at it, 9 of the 10 runs came with 2 outs. The Indians had 1 run home. And then Carlos Santana walked to load the bases, and the Travis Hafner double. Orlando Cabrera singled in a run. Michael Brantley hit a 3-run home run. Center field, not deep. Melky gets behind it. Orlando Cabrera comes to the plate, and the throw is just up to the first base side. So the Indians take a 4-1 lead as Brantley drives in his 19th.
Sean O'Sullivan didn't give in to Brantley on this pitch. He threw a changeup, and Brantley probably was sitting breaking ball because that's what he's been seeing the last 2 at bats. And you can see the good tag at third, and Cabrera launches his ball to home plate. But like you said, a little run up the line just made that play a lot easier.
Ball 1 to Asdrubal Cabrera, who has a sacrifice bunt and a fly out to left field. On the corner, 1 ball, 1 strike. Royals fans know that over the last 7 years, the toughest team on the Royals has been the Minnesota Twins. Royals hope to turn that around this year, but right behind the Twins would be the Cleveland Indians. They have won the last 7 season series against the Royals. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Cabrera. They have already won 6 of the 8 meetings this year. They've won the last 4. And if you include tonight, the Indians have outscored the Royals 47-10 in the last 4+ games. And now a 4-1 lead in the 4th inning tonight. Still 1-2.
Well, what really makes that stand out is the fact that you're in the same division. If they were in another division, it wouldn't seem as bad. But when you're in the same division, these are whole games that you're losing, and that's the harder to make those up, especially when that team that's beating you like that's in first place.
And with the loss last night, the Royals dropped to 6 back of the Indians in the standings. Two and 2. Sullivan is already over 80 pitches, and I bring that up because this is the 4th inning, so he is in that dangerous 20 pitches per inning average, which is very high once you get over 20 per. Grounded to the right side, and Aviles will get Cabrera to end the inning, but the Indians tack on another run, and once again they lead by 3. Cleveland 4, Royals 1 to the bottom of the 4th inning. Indians just added a run in the top of the 4th. After getting 3 in the first, the Royals run coming in the 2nd inning. Matt Trainor's single scored Eric Hosmer. Jeff Francoeur, then Hosmer and Wilson Betemit in the bottom of the 4th inning against Carlos Carrasco. 1 walk, 3 strikeouts for Carrasco. The Royals have 1 run, 3 hits. Francoeur out on a nice play by third baseman Jack Hanahan in the 2nd inning, bouncing one off the plate. That kangarooed high in the air, and Hanahan sprinting in from third, getting the ball. Quick throw to first and getting Francoeur. Target was high, and Carrasco nailed the target, but home plate umpire Chris Guccione said it was high. Well, they're trying to get Francoeur, who's a pretty good high ball hitter, trying to get him to chase a pitch higher than high, and then go down and away and strike him out, and that's 4 for Carrasco. And now Eric Hosmer, who got his first major league triple with 1 out in the 2nd inning, getting it past Michael Brantley, which has been a difficult task for the Royals in this series, and then coming home on Matt Trainor's single. Outside, ball 1.
Well, Eric Hosmer was very aggressive on the first pitch fastball, and this ball is up, and he gets behind it very well. When you get it past Brantley, that means you'd hit it real good, and he did a good job getting into third base. Surprising speed for a guy his size.
Two balls and no strikes. So Hosmer with 2 home runs, 3 doubles, and now a triple since joining the Royals. And he can play some defense. Last year, the Frank White Award winner for the organization's top defensive player.
Well, he looked like it last night. He made some outstanding plays over there at first base. He just got such soft hands. You know, he picked one ball out of the dirt, and even in a stretch mode to his right.
Out on a ground ball to second base, 2 down in the 4th. Indians signing Orlando Cabrera to go back to second base. He actually began his major league career as a second baseman. I always thought of him as a young shortstop in the Expos system, but actually started at second, moved to shortstop, and now back to second base. Has really helped the Indians improve their defense. On the ground to Asdrubal Cabrera. Low throw is handled by Laporta, and the Royals down 1-2-3 in the 4th. 4-1 Indians, and not nearly the score that it was last night, but in some ways the same from the Cleveland Indians. Good offense, good pitching, good defense.
I think just coming out and getting those 3 runs in the first inning, that sent a message to the Royals. Normally you want to go through those first couple of innings after giving up that many runs the night before, and give you a little more confidence that you're going to control this game to your liking. But the Royals were in an uphill battle right from the very first inning of this ball game.
And Sean O'Sullivan in his last 2 starts before tonight had gotten off to very strong beginnings. But the Indians knocked him around for 3 in the first inning. Tonight he gets 1 out on 1 pitch against Shin-Soo Choo to begin the 5th inning. Tonight's league leaders are brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. And last night we focused on the Indians' success on the mound and on defense. And then this is what they've done at the plate. Best in the league in batting average with runners in scoring position, runs per game, on base percentage, and they hit for power, 3rd in slugging percentage. So they're not doing it with smoke and mirrors at 25 and 13.
Well, if they keep their pitching where it is and they keep the defense where it is at 5.3 runs per game average, it's going to loom big as they go through the season. Because if you average 5 runs a game in the DH system with pitching and defense, you're going to be in a whole lot of ball games before the season's over.
Carlos Santana with another walk. That was in the first inning. Came around to score with 2 others on the Travis Hafner 3-run double. He has 4 walks in the first 2 games. He has a good eye, but man, when he lets it go, he lets it go.
And I say normally those two don't go together. I mean, you just up there being a free swinger. Your eyes don't always follow a free swinger.
Blasted to right field. Back goes Francoeur, and Santana just gets it over the railing for his 6th home run of the year. That is only the 3rd home run allowed all season by Sean O'Sullivan.
Well, you just take a look at this swing here. This pitch is in the middle of the plate, and he just does a good job here, just extending. And this ball is hit very well to right center field. Well, you can tell he does it the right way. He runs hard right away, because you don't hit a lot of them. You got to make sure they disappear in Kauffman Stadium before you assume this out of the ballpark.
How about that mad scramble for that home run ball? That one guy almost went diving over the table and onto the field.
It's hard to
watch this.
It's hard to understand why fans do this.
That poor lady down there.
Oh my God.
Spilling beer all over her, and
she disappeared too. She got out of there.
Those guys are going to get home. They're going to take that baseball. They're going to cut it open, and they are, much to their chagrin, going to discover that there is not a 4-carat diamond in the middle of that baseball. It is just a little rubber ball.
I mean, I just haven't seen the fascination of people diving across seats and just to get a baseball.
Hafner slices it to left center. The Royals were not playing him that way, so it rolls all the way to the wall in left center. So Hafner, who doubled up the right field line in the first inning, now doubles to left center, and that's where he hit his 3-run double last night.
Well, Malk is just straight up in the middle of the field, and you just want to make sure that you can see the hitter when you're behind the pitcher like that. But Hafner, when he hits his baseballs, it's almost like they start straight, and all of a sudden they just have a serious slice to the, to them. And that, like the ball last night, it's like a fly ball to Malk, and all of a sudden it just takes a left turn and continues to go.
So 2 doubles for Hafner and 8 on the year, and now Everett Tiefert, who was just called up, is warming up to make his major league debut. 24-2. 24-2. And now Orlando Cabrera, he singled leading off the 4th inning and came around to score on a sacrifice fly. And Orlando Cabrera has been to the Indians what Jeff Francoeur has been to the Royals. Veteran coming in, good veteran for team chemistry. Cabrera, wherever he has gone, it seems the playoffs follow him. Line to left field. Alex runs it down. And there are 2 away. He has been with 4 different teams the last 4 years before this year. 4 different teams, and all 4 teams went to the playoffs. He has been to the postseason 6 times in his career. And we mentioned earlier in the game winning the World Series with the Red Sox in 2004. Kind of a modern day Don Baylor or Lonnie Smith.
I know Lonnie had a silver spoon in his mouth when it came to winning championships. I tell you, he was a hard-nosed, good guy to play with.
Change up, 1 strike on Travis Buck, and that same pitch struck out Travis Buck in the 1st inning. He is 0 for 2. Indians with 3 runs in the 1st inning, 1 in the 4th. And another run here in the 5th on Carlos Santana's home run. Hafner's at second base with 2 outs. And will they send Hafner? They will. Melky's throw from center and cut off by Hosmer. The Royals will take the sure out. The run counts as Hafner across the plate. So Buck gets an RBI single, and it is 6-1 Indians. Royals down by 5 as they come up in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's tonight's AT&T trivia question. Who are the 4 Major League Hall of Famers to play for the Royals? I've got 3. Matt Trainer, Alcides Escobar, and Mike Aviles. With 2 outs and Eric Hosmer at third base. Matt Trainer singled in Hosmer, and the Royals needed that base hit. Hosmer was at third with 1 out, but Carlos Carrasco is able to get Wilson Betemit on a ground ball back to the mound. Hosmer not able to advance. So Trainer's base hit made it a 3-1 game, but now the Indians have come back with 3. 1-1. Everett Teaford, just called up from AAA Omaha, was warming up as Sean O'Sullivan was finishing off the top of the 5th inning. So maybe we'll see him in the 6th. Line to right, and that's caught by Shin Soo Choo, 1 away. Four Major League Hall of Famers to play for the Royals: George Brett, Orlando Cepeda, Harmon Killebrew, Gaylord Perry. You didn't get Gaylord Perry, neither did I. And our condolences to the Harmon Killebrew family, the Minnesota Twins family. Harmon Killebrew passed away today. A few days ago, it was announced by Killebrew and his family that he had entered hospice care, treated for esophageal cancer during spring training.
He was a great guy, Rhino. I mean, he's one of the few guys that would talk to the young guys on the bench during the game. So to be able to be a utility guy and sit next to him on the bench and listen to all those great stories, plus watching him play when he was with the Twins. And I think he hit like 13 home runs for us that year. So, I mean, he just had a classic swing, and he was a very classy guy.
If you didn't know Harmon Killebrew was Harmon Killebrew, he was just a nice guy, just very humble, very grounded, had time to talk to everybody, didn't like to talk about himself. And when I would see him in Minnesota, he was living in Arizona at the time, and I believe he spent his final days in Arizona. But when he would visit Minnesota, he would follow the Twins, but wanted to know what was going on and wanted to meet some of the current players. And he was so humble that some of the current players had no idea who they were meeting. They just thought it was just a nice old fellow who was following the club.
Yeah, Harmon, he loved milkshakes. I mean, that's what he would do after the game. He and Fran Healy, they would go and try to find the nearest place to get a milkshake.
Really?
They love it.
I believe he was 74 years old. Still 1-2 on Escobar. He struck out in the 2nd inning.
You see that lower section of baseball, that Carrasco, he can change the throw in that area because he's got Escobar chasing those pitches down in the way. He just been able to foul them off. But he's got some good pitches hit too and foul those off. So eventually the pitcher's going to make the pitch he needs to make, like in the first at bat, a better slider, and got the strikeout. So as a hitter, you don't want to foul off that many pitches. You want to get one you can handle and put it in play.
Still 1 ball, 2 strikes, and now an 8-pitch at bat, and 6 of the 8 pitches have been fouled away. Royals begin a 2-game series here tonight against the Texas Rangers. The Cleveland Indians will go to Chicago in a 2-game series with the White Sox. As Drupal Cabrera showing off his skills, but it's not enough to get the Royals shortstop. And Alcides Escobar has an infield single.
When you go in the hole right at shortstop, you got to make a decision. Do you want to set your feet and make this play, or you want to get in the air and make the play? I think you're better off to set that right foot down, and you get a lot more on the throw. But you can see right here, he throws off the wrong foot, and you just can't get as much on the throw. If the right foot comes down and he throws off the right foot, as Escobar would do, now you can get more on your throw.
Fouled away by Mike Aviles. He is struck out and grounded out to short. And he lost a hit on a nice play by Asdrubal Cabrera in the third. Inside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Somebody is banging a drum in the stadium tonight, and it just kind of triggered something in me. It's very fall-like tonight. It feels like a game that we might be playing in September, and you'd be hearing a lot of drums that time of year with high school and college football. So May the 17th, but it sure feels a lot like September the 17th tonight. 2 balls and 1 strike on Aviles. And now Santana out to have a word with his catcher, with his pitcher. Let's check in with Joe Goldberg.
Well, you showed the helicopter before and talking about maybe Ryan going over to Whiteman, and I've gotten some text or some tweets actually. The first from Chris on KC Sports that said to tell all of us that it's an AH-64 Apache. That's an Army helicopter. Whiteman's an Air Force base, so maybe it was going there. But I also got a lot of tweets from Sergeant Barry Green, who I hear from on a regular basis. He is a diehard Royals fan at Fort Benning in Georgia, and actually going to come down and watch the Royals play at Tampa Bay. And he said, you may want to let the guys know that's a 30-millimeter chain gun and brackets that contain Hellfire missile on the Apache. They were wondering. So I tweeted him back and said, Hellfire? He said, yeah. Roger, Hellfire missiles, they are devastating weapons, bro, in action. He said he's been bailed out by those before. He's been over in Iraq. He's got stories. I'm not going to share all of them. But Sergeant Barry Green is a huge Royals fan. I hear from him all the time watching down there, and he says that those Apaches are a great asset for the U.S. I can speak for all of us and say thank you to Sergeant Green and to all those troops out there watching.
Hear, hear.
Thank you, Joel.
Now, were they, Joel, this flying into downtown to get some short ends at Gates and head back to Whiteman?
Power and Light District.
Okay.
I suspect they could pretty much fly wherever they want to fly into.
Yeah. I don't know who's going to get in the way of an Apache with Hellfire missiles on it.
I love that response. They are devastating weapons, bro.
You can only imagine, Joel.
That's coming from a man that has had experience with them. So, deployed to Iraq in the past, at Fort Benning right now, and hopefully we will see him later this summer in Tampa.
2 balls and no strikes on Melky Cabrera, a single and a stolen base in the first inning, and grounded out in the third. Two and one. Melky at 272. This is what his average was when the game started. Look at where he was last year. 193 with 8 RBIs, 25 RBIs coming into the game tonight to go along with 5 home runs. So a big turnaround. Melky's season got a little better as it went on in Atlanta last year, but not a lot better. Seven of his 25 RBIs this year are against the Indians. And Alcides Escobar takes off. That is ball 4 to Cabrera. And the Royals are making a little noise with 2 outs. And 2 on for Alex Gordon. Well, we hope you'll join the Royals, the Greater Kansas City Attractions Association, and the Kansas City Convention and Visitors Association for Tourism Day here at Kauffman Stadium this Thursday. It's the Royals and the Rangers at 7:10, and the first 10,000 fans will receive a KC Attractions pack. So the second walk given up by Carrasco. Former Royal Tim Belcher out to have a word with Carrasco. A Give a lot of credit to Tim Belcher and the work he has done with the Indians pitching staff the last 2 years. A former Royal, Tim Belcher led the team in wins in '96, '97, and '98, and now in his second year as Indians pitching coach.
The one thing he would definitely bring to these young pitching staff is wanting the baseball, going out there and pitching aggressively with the baseball in the strike zone and pitching to contact, and that's kind of pitcher he was. And just basically move the ball in and out.
Change up, no balls, 1 strike. We told you when Alex batted in the 3rd inning that he's had a bad time against Carrasco. 1 out of 7 with 5 strikeouts, but Alex was able to get on with a walk. Lays off the changeup this time. 1 ball, 1 strike. Almost all of his power this year has come here at Kauffman Stadium, which is somewhat of a surprise as far as home runs go, not with doubles because of the big dimensions. Hard to drive one out of here, but big gaps for doubles and triples. Alex had a triple in last night's game. Down in the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And I asked Alex about that, and just simply said he's comfortable here at Kauffman Stadium. The batter's box is comfortable, the backdrop is comfortable. And talking about some other ballparks where he just doesn't feel right in this batter's box, or just doesn't quite see the ball right in this particular stadium. But nothing really stands out in particular, but just a comfortable place to hit. 2-2.
Well, I can definitely see the backdrop being great to hit off. If you can eliminate all the flash from the scoreboard, you definitely have a great hitter's background here. But most hitters would say, but the pocket's too big.
So that's what the ball is coming out of right there. Those tiers of green walls in center field. And Alex strikes out, so Carrasco gets him again, and the Royals leave 2 in the 5th inning. Here are tonight's Honda highlights, and the Indians provided highlights in the 1st inning with Travis Hafner's 3-run double. The Royals in the 2nd inning got a 1-out triple from Eric Hosmer, his first major league triple. Matt Trainer singled him home to make it a 3-1 game. Then in the 4th, Michael Brantley's sacrifice fly put the Indians in front 4-1. Carlos Santana hit a home run in the 5th inning, and then Travis Buck singled in Travis Hafner in the 5th. And a nice round of applause as Sean O'Sullivan is done for the night. Everett Tiefert makes his major league debut, and A warm ovation when he was announced into the game. 2-1, ERA just over 3 for AAA Omaha, and a very impressive opponent's batting average, 165, and a good start here. One pitch, one away as he gets Matt Laporta on a fly out to right field. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. They may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Ryan Lefevre along with Frank White, Joel Goldberg, producer Kevin Schenk, director Steve Kurtenbach, associate producers Al Broughton, Sam Abramson, and the producer of Royals Live is the birthday boy, TJ McGinnis. Ball one from Everett Tieford to Jack Hanahan, 1 for 2 with a single. Tieford listed at 6 foot, 165 pounds. He describes himself as a short 6 foot, meaning that might be a bit of a stretch. Ground ball to Escobar, and 2 up, 2 down. He had an outstanding year last year at AA Northwest Arkansas. He went 14-3 as both a starter and a reliever, and then pitched 1 game at AAA Omaha.
It's really nice to come out and have success right away and be able to display both your pitches. The fastball's been around 93. That was a nice curveball right there to induce a ground ball at shortstop.
Born, raised, and still lives in Alpharetta, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. After going to Centennial High School, played his college ball at Georgia Southern. And in 2006, the Royals drafted him in the 12th round. One hop to Hosmer, his teammate last year in the minor leagues, and just like that, Everett Tieford has a 1-2-3 6th inning.
That's bottom of the 6th, and the Royals trail the Indians 6-1. This is our Sonic Slam inning, and our contestant is Steve Jones from Harrisonville, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Steve will win $1,200. If the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Steve will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
Billy Butler, Jeff Francoeur, and Eric Hosmer in the 6th inning against Carlos Carrasco. Billy is lined to center, lost a hit on a running play by Michael Brantley in the 1st, and he grounded out in the 3rd. Curveball drops low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Royals with 1 run, 4 hits in 5 innings against Carlos Carrasco. Two and one. Left-hander Rafael Perez warming up behind Carrasco in the Indians bullpen. Carrasco at 95 pitches. Drilled to right center field, deep. Back goes Chu with Brantley, and Chu makes the catch and then runs into the stream. And Billy Butler is wondering what in the world he has to do tonight to get one past Brantley or Chu.
Well, you're right, Ryan. He's been victimized twice. One by Brantley in left center field against the wall. And this is Billy Butler all the way right here. Driving this ball to right center field. That's where his power is. And it's a big ballpark, and there's a lot of running to be done here. But Chin-Soo Chu makes this play look easy.
Francoeur into right center. Chu runs over to cut it off. Francoeur wants 2. And he beats the throw. Another hustling double for Francoeur.
This pitch is away. He does a good job hitting this line drive over second base. It's a good try right here by Francoeur. And Chu did a 360. Didn't know he was going. He got caught a little bit on this play by Francoeur's hustle. But this is the kind of way. This is the way he's been playing all year. And there was no hesitation at first base at all. He was going for 2. And what made that play really good for him is Chu was going to his right, and he knew he had to make that 360 spin, and that made it easier for him to get in there.
So 2 balls hit on the button. So Manny Acta got it. Royals down by 5. A couple of good swings against Carlos Carrasco, and now he will hit the showers. Runner at second base with 1 out. Make plans ahead to Kauffman Stadium this Friday. The I-70 series begins. Cardinals in town over the weekend. After the 7-10 game on Friday, there will be a spectacular fireworks show presented by Hy-Vee and Pepsi. No pitching change. Lefty Rafael Perez comes on with Eric Hosmer coming to the plate. The league hitting .184 against Perez in his first 16 appearances. Strike to Hosmer, and that's about as much of a protest as you're going to see from him. Just kind of freezing for a moment, stunned by the call. A triple and a run scored in the second inning. Hosmer grounded out to second in the fourth. Back Work up the middle, base hit center field. Francoeur is waved home. Brantley will play at the second base. It is 6-2.
That's a good piece of hitting right here, Ryan. Nice little breaking ball away from him. Didn't try to pull it. Went right back through the box with it. That's all you want to do right here. Right up the middle and made it easy for Francoeur to score from second base. Like he just stays right with it. He has to reach a little bit. Keeps his hands back. Has enough left in that swing to hit a hard ground ball through the middle.
Now Hosmer's running. The throw comes in on a bounce, but Orlando Cabrera handles it and applies the tag. Royals hate to lose a base runner down by 4 in the 6th inning.
Well, you really got to be absolutely sure you can get in there. You don't want to run yourself off the bases when you're trying to catch up. He's probably got a little beef right there.
The obligatory Kevin Shank replay. We'll start calling that the Royals were robbed replay.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, we haven't gotten any strange swings this year either.
So the Indians get Eric Hosmer in a lefty-lefty matchup, and now they move Betemeet over to the right side, but he's hitting .391 from this side of the plate. He's grounded out twice today. One of his groundouts was a big out for the Indians. Hosmer was at third with 1 out, and Betemeet, going after the first pitch, just nubbed it out in front of the mound. Carrasco threw out Betemeet, so Hosmer was at third with 2 outs, but Matt Trainer picked him up and drove in Hosmer with a single. In the dirt, Santana is going to have to throw it down to first. That completes the strikeout. The Royals get a run on Eric Hosmer's 6th RBI of the year. Tonight, a run scored and an RBI. Pepsi Max is proud to be the official soft drink of the Royals and the Fox Sports Kansas City broadcast booth. Look for these special edition Frank White Pepsi Max cans at your neighborhood Hy-Vee. Frank will be at Hy-Vee in Prairie Village on Friday from 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. So stop by, meet Frank, pick up a can of Pepsi Max. Pepsi Max, 0 calories, maximum Pepsi taste. Go get you a can of Frank. Everett Tieford made his big league debut last inning, and it was a quick 6th inning. 3 up, 3 down, 2 ground balls and a fly out to right field. He'll get the 2, 3, and 4 hitters in the 7th inning. We told you about last year when he went 14-3 with Northwest Arkansas. The year before that, he finished the year at Northwest Arkansas and was 3-7 with an ERA over 5. So it was a disappointing year for him, and he had dropped somewhat in the Royals system, but pulled it back together, added 5 to 6 miles per hour on his fastball, better location, throwing more strikes, and had the big season. Now he gives up his first major league hit, his first major league run, his first major league home run, as Asdrubal Cabrera goes into left center field, and the Indians get that run right back.
Tieford leaves a fastball in the middle of the plate, right, and Asdrubal just right there. You see it right in the heart of the plate, up, right into his swing, and he gets all of this ball. It goes out pretty quickly in the left center field. I see our fans have gotten really into the swing of things in baseball and just throwing home runs back on the field. But that was a line drive right in the left center field. You will regret it one day, throwing that baseball back on the field.
There's a good curveball to Shin-Soo Choo. Two and one. His teammates love him everywhere he's been in the Royal system. Everett Tieford has a great sense of humor, self-deprecating sense of humor, and his teammates really gave him a hard time when his truck was stolen during spring training this year. He parked it outside of a restaurant in Surprise. It was missing for a few days and then found 85 miles away in some place called Arizona City out in the middle of the desert. So his teammates had fun with that. Tieford had fun with that. When they found the truck, he said he didn't want to see it ever again.
Yeah, it was a good looking truck too.
So Chu walks. Carlos Santana comes to the plate. Let's bring in Joel.
Well, he's really liked by his teammates. Obviously, you can tell from that story, Ryan, and as we've gotten to know him, a really nice sense of humor for Everett Tieford. I had a chance during spring training for a Fox Sports Kansas City piece to go out with the 6 left-handed starters from the championship rotation in Northwest Arkansas last year. Mike Montgomery, Danny Duffy, John Lamb, Chris Dwyer, Will Smith, and Tieford. And I asked all of them in a roundtable discussion, other than yourself, who would be that one guy that you would want on the mound in a big moment. And every single one of them said Tieford, and some of that was respect. They said he's been around a little bit longer, he's a little bit older, but they really believe that he was a guy that in a big situation had a good understanding of how to get it done. So interesting feedback from the guys there. I do want to pass on one other thing. I got multiple Twitters here saying forget about the Royals were robbed. I didn't coax this, by the way, either. The fans are paying attention. Said don't call it that. They call it the Royals got shanked.
Whoa.
You like that?
Okay.
I like that.
Cody Smith and then tweets by Vamosi, both, I don't think they're related, said like one after the next, like a minute apart, the Royals got shanked.
I like it.
I love it.
Kevin Shank doesn't like the idea. Unfortunately for him, our microphones are on the air, his isn't.
Well, he still controls everything. I'll be muted in a heartbeat. I don't know about you guys.
So Tieford in trouble in the 7th inning after having an easy 6th. And now Travis Hafner, who has driven in 3. He has 2 doubles tonight and a run scored. Tieford drops down and throws a strike. Eight doubles on the year for Hafner, 22 RBIs, and batting at .348. 1 ball, 1 strike. And if 348 isn't impressive enough. How about 481 with runners in scoring position? Only Miguel Cabrera and Matt Wieters in the entire league have higher averages in this situation.
And that's clutch.
Good curveball.
You watch this curveball here, Ryan. He throws it at him and buffers him a little bit, but it's still pretty high in the strike zone. You want to try to get it down a little bit lower. If he tends to look for that pitch, it's going to be right there in the swing plane.
And Hafner didn't really flinch. He just took a look at it. Fastball is pulled to Hosmer. Plays a difficult hop. And the Royals get the out at second base. Got a little help from Escobar. I don't think Hosmer had the best angle to deal with, trying to get that throw around Carlos Santana, but the Royals get the out.
Yeah, that's always a tough play for your shortstop. If that ball crosses that runner and he knows he's got no backup, he's got to make sure he stays there and make that play. So Escobar does a good job of diving across the bag and really making a nice play on this ball. So you just sort of put him in jeopardy there whenever that baseball heads across that runner. You want this ball right here to the outside if possible. But you just see the ball just ran back to the inside, but a good athletic move by Escobar.
And now the Royals will make another pitching change. Chevy called to the bullpen. It'll be Lewis Coleman with runners at first and third. One out. Everett Tiefert has his first major league game out of the way, allows one run in an inning and a third. He leaves behind runners at first and third, and now cheers on Lewis Coleman, who will pitch to Orlando Cabrera. Coleman was one of 7 Royals pitchers last night. He pitched the 9th inning, faced 3, retired 3. One hop, diving play of Vilas. They get the out at second base. What a double play!
Well, Mike did everything he could. He dove, got up, made a nice throw to Escobar chest high, and he made a strike throw that Hosmer at first base complete the play.
To you by the Missouri Division of Tourism. You're taking a look at fantastic caverns in Springfield, America's only ride-through cave. The cave is toured in Jeep-drawn trams. Since you ride all the way, you experience the magnitude, the stillness, and the splendor of fantastic caverns. The unique tram follows the path of an ancient underground river. Enjoy the beauty of a natural cave without long walks or steep climbs. Go to visitmo.com to start planning your next Missouri getaway. 7-2 Indians to the bottom of the 7th inning. And it is 7-2, not 8-2, because of a great defensive play for the final 2 outs of the 7th inning. Our Home Depot defensive play of the game.
Well, we saw Michael Vilas dive to his left and come on one knee and make a strike throw to Escobar at shortstop, and he turned and fired a shot over there to Hosmer at first base to get the Royals out of that inning. I talked to Mike before the game today, and I said, you play 3 positions now. How would you rank them? He said, I'd rank shortstop 1, second base 2, and third base 3. But he's getting better at third.
This is side armor Joe Smith for the bottom of the 7th inning. Matt Trainer, Alcides Escobar, and Mike Aviles coming up. 3 right-hand batters. Trainer drove in a run with a single in the 2nd inning, and then lined to right in the 5th. So he had 2 good swings against Carlos Carrasco. Three balls, no strikes. You could see with that arm angle that Joe Smith would be tough on a right-hand batter. But he has had a lot of problems with righties this year. He's done much better against lefties. But Maniacta still going to bring him in here with right-hand batters coming up. I mean, 375. In years past, those 2 numbers are flipped. It's the righties hitting 091 and the lefties at 375. But he lets Trainer get away on 5 pitches and walks the leadoff man. So Trainer with a single and a walk. He is batting right around 240, but his on base percentage is 389. And this is where on base percentage is most important. Leading off an inning, getting a rally started, and the Royals are running out of time, down by 5 with 9 more outs to go on offense. Smith still having trouble with right-hand batters. 2 balls and no strikes on Escobar.
Yeah, right now he just can't get on the plate. The fastball is running in off the plate, and the slider's off the plate also.
While they talk it over, we remind you that the Royals are home on Memorial Day. They'll be hosting the Angels, who are back in town again. That's Monday, May the 30th. Fans can purchase $5 Hy-Vee level tickets when the Royals take on the Angels at 3:10. So spend your Memorial Day with the Royals here at Kauffman Stadium. Three balls, no strikes.
Smith's fastball's running a lot, Ryan. You'd think he started on the outside part of the plate and let it run back, but he started in the middle of the plate, and by the time he gets to the home plate, it's way inside to the right-handed hitter.
He has made 9 pitches, 8 are balls, and back-to-back walks.
It really just boiled down to making an adjustment, and he hasn't made that adjustment. He can see what his pitch is doing, but being able to start it further away will help him a lot more. So finding that consistent release point is definitely a problem right now.
He started the season on the disabled list. He had an abdominal strain, and you figure when you come down sidearm the way he does, that's going to put a lot of pressure on the midsection of the body. As we talked about before, and you pitch down like that, it doesn't put much strain on the arm, but it's usually the lower back and the abdominal muscles that feel the tension. And the wonder if going on the DL with the abdominal strain and maybe that injury in the back of his mind has thrown off his mechanics.
Well, that's always a possibility. You want to feel confident that when you go through a pitch, you're not going to feel any pain anywhere. And it seems to have a lot of life on his fastball. It's just that finding that release point to get it in the strike zone seems to be the problem.
So the first time since Thursday, the Royals have scored more than one run in a game. Down by 5, 2 on, nobody out. Mike Aviles 0 for 3 tonight, and now 3 for his last 24. Way outside. Well, Smith is all over the place. It's not like he's just missing off of one part of the plate and he can make a simple correction. He's missing everywhere. One and one.
Well, that's an adjustment right there. Just throwing a fastball that doesn't run. Just throwing a straight fastball and to the middle of the plate. When you got so much life on it, you can't make an adjustment. You got to go to something else. His slider was off the plate and his sinker was off the plate.
Pounded foul to third base coach Eddie Rodriguez. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Remember how we told you that Lewis Coleman started throwing sidearm because he was trying to find a way to get hitters out in college when he was at Louisiana State. Well, Joe Smith started throwing sidearm in college when his coaches suggested he make a change. Now backing out of play. He didn't make his college team as a freshman. He was throwing overhand. He returned as a sophomore, still throwing overhand. And then the coaches suggested he throw sidearm. He didn't like the idea. His dad didn't like the idea. But he made the team and he became a big league pitcher. Infield fly rule. 1 down in the 7th inning. Aviles is 0 for 4. So Smith gets the 3 right-hand batters. Now switch hitting Melky Cabrera coming to the plate. Andy Acta wants him to bat right-handed, so lefty Tony Sipp jogs in from the bullpen. Bottom of the 7th inning, Melky Cabrera has a single and a walk tonight. Tony Sipp is out of the Indians bullpen. We just saw Joe Smith, one of the rare Indians relievers that has had his troubles this year, and Tony Sipp with impressive numbers, a 1.5 ERA, 159 opponent's batting average, just 1 home run allowed in 18 innings. Joe Smith walked Matt Trainer and Alcides Escobar on a combined 9 pitches. So only 1 strike for the first 2 hitters. He was able to come back and get Mike Aviles on a pop out to second. And now he'll tangle with Melky Cabrera. Melky typically has more power from this side of the plate and a higher average from the other side, and that is true again this year, hitting .296 from the left side of the plate. More home runs from that side, but he has many more at bats as a left-hand hitter. One ball, one strike. Talking to Melky about switch hitting, he doesn't remember a moment in his life when he decided to be a switch hitter. Talking to Eddie Rodriguez with Melky the other day, and this is true for a lot of Latin American born players. They grow up playing in the streets or playing baseball all the time, and most of them are batting right-handed sometimes, batting left-handed other times. There really wasn't a moment in his life when a coach or a teammate or maybe one of his parents suggested, hey, you might want to start hitting from the other side of the plate. He just grew up hitting from both sides.
And when you're a switch hitter, you'd like to get an even number of at bats from both sides, but it's a big difference between his at bats left-handed and right-handed. So just switching over in the middle of a game, this looks kind of strange to you sometimes.
Into center field. Brantley gets behind it. Trainer goes back to the bag, but he's not going anywhere. So there are two down. And now Tony Sipp will pitch to Alex Gordon, who was glad to see Carlos Carrasco out of the game. 0 for 2 with a walk. Those 2 outs were strikeouts, so Alex is 1 out of 8 with 6 strikeouts against Carlos Carrasco. As far as matchups with Tony Sipp, he is 0 for 4, but he has walked 3 times.
Well, Tony Sipp is more over the top, and he probably can see the ball a little bit better. But you just got to look for a fastball and try to hit the fastball. He will give you a fastball to hit.
I don't think he was concerned about Matt Trainer stealing third base with 2 outs. Maybe a 5-run game.
Maybe just didn't like the pitch he was going to throw.
High and away, ball 1. Royals scored both runs on 5 hits in 5 1/3 against Carlos Carrasco. Rafael Perez got the final 2 outs of the 6th. And now Joe Smith and Tony Sipp here in the 7th. One and one. Tony Sipp was taken in the 45th round back in 2004 out of Clemson, where he pitched and played the outfield. A long shot to get to the big leagues, to say the least. Santana down to second base, and Matt Trainer is gunned down. And he'll be back behind the plate here in the top of the 8th as we go around the American League, presented by Panera Bread. And the Yankees beat Tampa Bay. That ends the Yankees' 6-game losing streak. 2 home runs for Alex Rodriguez. He has 8. Another rainout in Detroit. They were hosting the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays have won 6 in a row. And a rainout in Boston as the Red Sox are hosting the Orioles. Boston had won 4 straight. Chicago is in front of Texas. Texas is leading the Angels by a half game. And another delay in Oakland. That's back-to-back games where they've had problems in Oakland. And Minnesota is in front of Seattle. Twins have lost 9 in a row. They go to Seattle for a 2-game series to face Michael Pineda and Felix Hernandez.
That's a tough twosome right there.
So Blake Wood here in the top of the 8th inning with Travis Buck, Matt Laporta, and Jack Hanahan coming up.
Yeah, Pineda, I tell you, 2 guys that are pretty similar in their height, but he's got an explosive fastball, nice breaking ball, and you got King Felix with him, and that's 2 quality starters in your rotation.
Travis Buck singled in a run in the 5th inning and then was thrown out at second base on the same play, but the run had already scored. Foul ground. Betamit is there to make the catch. So you look at the Royals bullpen right now. Everett Tiefert made his major league debut tonight, replaced by Lewis Coleman. So there's 2 rookies. Then you add in Nate Adcock, Tim Collins, Aaron Crow, Jeremy Jeffress, and then Blake Wood. This is just his 2nd year in the big leagues. So the gray-haired veteran out there is Joakim Soria. Francoeur makes the play, and 2 quick outs for Blake Wood in the 8th inning. Let's go upstairs to the press box, and here's Joel Goldberg.
All right, Ryan, thanks. It is Blog Your Way to the K night, and a number of bloggers were chosen to come out here. They're here in the suite by the press box. 8 of them tonight. Actually, one who's a mom had to go home to a sick child, but joined right now by Mike Engel and the rest. And Mike, day job medical billing, but he also has a site called Kings of Kaufman. How unique of an experience is this being here at the park?
This is really a great experience because we get a chance to go behind the curtain and see a little bit of the press box and kind of what the day-to-day is as far as covering the Royals and being a part of, interviews, press conferences, and media sessions.
How much does that change your perspective on things too? Because it is a difference being somewhere else than being here.
It's a lot different than just sitting on the internet and picking out the information. You get to actually see the players. We talked to Eric Hosmer and Bruce Chen. We talked to Ned Yost, and we're going to talk to him after the game as well. So it's really unique considering where we don't always have that same reference.
Guys, it's interesting. Some of the professions, the day jobs, we've got an educator up here, an IT guy, teacher, somebody from the National Guard, a couple of stay-at-home dads, and then guys that love Royals baseball. And I should point out as well that Jeff Montgomery was interviewed by them earlier in the day, and he pointed out, he said, contrary to what people think, these guys don't live in their mom's basement. That's what he gathered from this. So that was Monty, and he's a Royals Hall of Famer, so we can't argue with that statement. But interesting talking to them. Also, there's a gentleman over here as well, Chris Kamler, and he tweets under the name Fake Ned Yost. But he's not, making anybody believe that he's real Ned Yost. He's fake Ned Yost, and the Royals invited him out here to that night. And you had a big moment earlier this year too, did you not?
I did. I'm leading somewhat of a double life. I caught Matt Trainor's walk-off home run in the first home series.
So Ned Yost was in the booth, and fake Ned Yost caught that ball, if you can.
And Matt Trainor signed a bat for him, didn't he?
Yeah, and Matt Trainor signed a bat, right?
Yeah, I gave it to my 8-year-old. It's very cool. Very cool moment.
All right, so we got some good writing going on here, and a lot of these blogs will be up later tonight or tomorrow about the experience here at Kauffman Stadium. And so far, they've got a 7-2 game. We'll see what happens the rest of the way, guys.
All right, thank you, Joel. By the way, they're sitting in a suite.
I told him this.
Which I have never been in before. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
I had to be invited in by the bloggers. Hit hard by Hanahan. Backhanded by Aviles. And Blake Wood has a tidy top of the 8th inning.
Seven to 2 at Kauffman Stadium, middle of the 8th, immediately following the game on Boulevard Royals Live. Jeff Montgomery and I will be out at Rivals talking about Sean O'Sullivan's start. Plus, Everett Tieford Major League debut. We'll review that. And Billy Butler has hit the ball hard all night. Not a lot to show for it, but certainly hitting the ball well. And Ryan thinks that's funny. Well, hey, I like to recognize when a guy is crushing the ball.
No. I
was
was laughing at the little kid dancing, Joel.
Oh, really? Well, I don't have access to that.
Oh.
I'm hanging out here in the suite.
Oh.
The blogging suite. So that and all of the good laughter on Boulevard Royals Live. I wasn't privy to that.
They don't have a television in that suite.
No, they do, but my back was to it, and that's the first time I've ever done a tease for Boulevard Royals Live where Ryan broke out in laughter.
Well, if you could have seen that little kid dancing, it was quite entertaining.
All right, let me look at the monitor here. Oh, well, now it makes sense. That's kind of like the dude that fell asleep in New York, but he's the exact opposite. I like the dad next to him, like, yeah, that's how we roll.
And prior to that, before we came back from break, we had a nice shot of a dugout suite with a couple people making out. We called that the love suite. You can't beat fun at the old ballpark. Alex Gordon was standing at the plate with 2 on, 2 out last inning. He strikes out here, the final out of the 7th. Matt Trainer was gunned down at second base by catcher Carlos Santana, so a pickoff to end the inning, and now 1 down in the 8th. Want to take your Royals tailgate to the next level? Cater with Jack Stack Barbecue, the official caterer of the Kansas City Royals and Kauffman Stadium. To see menu options or for more information, call 816-504-4040 or email groupsales@royals.com. That's email groupsales@royals.com. You got that? One and one on Billy Butler, who has a tough luck 0 for 3 tonight. A line out to center field. Nice running play by Michael Brantley. And then lined out to deep right in the 6th. Shin-Soo Choo running that ball down. Most of the time, the game will even itself out over the course of 6 months and 162 games. But I would bet right now, Billy feels like the game has not evened itself out as far as the ratio of balls hit hard and actual hits.
Well, the one thing about Billy, though, Ryan, is he doesn't get a lot of cheap hits. He doesn't get a lot of bloop hits. Usually his balls will square it up pretty good. And to have that great year, you got to get your share of broken bat base hits and bloop hits in the outfield.
He will walk with one out. So he's on base for the first time.
Well, you can see right there he was trying to stay away from him, but you know he has a tendency to be a little wild with his fastball, and he doesn't show much of a breaking ball. Doesn't throw it very often at all. So he depends on fastball location.
So now Jeff Francoeur 1 for 3, and that hit was another hustling double. Really, if you want to break it down, for many hitters it was a single and then a stolen base off of Shin-Soo Choo, who may have been caught off guard by Francoeur stretching it into a double, and as it turned out, the throw from Choo wasn't even close. Laporta over near the Love Suite, and he makes the catch.
Well, you watch the camera guy, Ryan. I don't know. He's not used to trying to get out of the way of pop-ups. He ran to the pop-up.
Nice.
Look at that camera that hit Laporta right in the chest. Look at Johnson. John said, I'm going to get down low. I'm not going over that way.
That's John Sleezer, who might be the best sports photographer in the country. He's going to give that guy a few tips on how to get out of the way. I don't know. I think that guy was trying to help the Royals out.
Well, he came real close.
He got that big lens tangled up with Matt Laporta. If you're a fan, you don't want to reach over. That's fan interference. But if you're a photographer with a lens like that, I think we encourage interference with the opposing players, don't we?
Well, that would be like getting a stiff arm in the chest right there with that lens there. He's just fortunate he didn't get, really hit well with that lens there. Man, that's a big lens.
Yeah, I disagree. I think if he could have done it again, I think he gets Laporta in the face with that lens.
Well, I think he was trying to keep the ball off his lips and didn't really know where the lens was going. But that could have been a real big surprise to Matt Laporta going over there.
Yeah. But if you get him in the face, then Laporta can't make the catch. But Laporta could get some dental x-rays or something like that.
In the big scheme of things.
Yeah. He'll do better next time. Two hits, an RBI, and a run scored for Eric Hosmer. He was single in the 6th inning with an RBI. Came against lefty Rafael Perez. Chased a pitch that was even with his eyes, and he fouls it away.
Whoa.
Hosmer mania.
What's with the feathers?
I think that's a knockoff of the Hulk mania. Sip to the bag in front of Hosmer, and we go to the 9th inning. Royals are still down 7-2. Ninth inning, Royals down by 5. Let's take a look at tonight's Chevy plays of the game and Everett Teaford's big league debut in the 6th inning.
Well, he came in fine fashion, got a lazy fly ball to right field, a big hopper to Alcides Escobar at shortstop, and another big hopper to Eric Hosmer at first base. So a great beginning to a major league career.
And now Aaron Crow becomes the Royals' 5th pitcher tonight with a 0.93 ERA. Just 2 earned runs allowed in 19 1/3 innings. And he pitches for the first time at home since giving up a 3-run home run against the Oakland A's in his last appearance here at Kauffman Stadium. And those were the first runs allowed in his big league career. This is the 5th time through for the Indians. Leadoff man Michael Brantley, then Asdrubal Cabrera and Shin-Soo Choo. The Indians scored 3 in the 1st inning. Travis Hafner hit a 3-run double. Royals got a run back in the 2nd on Matt Trainor's base hit, so it was 3-1 going into the 4th. Orlando Cabrera scoring in the 4th inning. Indians with 2 in the 5th, 1 in the 7th. And over that span, the Royals have added just 1 run. Eric Hosmer and Matt Trainor have driven in the runs for the Royals. Brantley strikes out, and there's 1 away in the 9th inning.
Aaron Crow showed us a different pitch tonight that he hadn't shown us before, right? It had 2 nice little curveballs right there that we haven't seen. Usually it's a hard fastball, hard slider, but that's just a nice soft pitch right in the middle of the strike zone.
The Indians scored 6 of their 7 runs off of Sean O'Sullivan. Everett Teaford gave up a run in an inning and a 1/3. Lewis Coleman 2/3 scoreless, and Blake Wood had a 1-2-3 top of the 8th inning. Asdrubal Cabrera homered against Everett Teaford in the 7th inning, his 7th of the year. Cabrera has hit in 8 straight games. That is a career high 7 home runs for Asdrubal Cabrera. He hit 6 in 2009 and he hit 6 in 2008, and we're only 25% into the season. Three balls, 2 strikes.
And those numbers could be better if Choo starts hitting, and he'll get better pitches to hit, because when Choo's hot, he's really hot, and he will get better pitches to hit. And if Santana gets it going, it'll definitely help the middle of that order even more.
Tavilas takes care of Cabrera, 2 down. Choo has been on base 3 times, hit by a pitch, scored a run in the 1st. He has added a single and a walk. Crow makes him move his feet. The way Choo has hit against the Royals the last couple of years, who would have figured Cleveland would come into Kansas City and they would score 26 runs in the first 2 games without 1 single RBI from Shin-Soo Choo.
I don't think we would have bet on it if we were asked to bet on it, because he has done such a great job against the Royals.
Good hard slider, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him looking. 2 strikeouts for Aaron Crow. The Royals need a big rally for the bottom of the 9th inning, and the rally dance has begun. A 2-game series from the Royals before heading to Chicago. They have a 5-run lead, and Manny Acta still is going to go with his closer. Chris Perez, 10 saves and 11 opportunities, and that one blown save was against the Royals. Prior to this outing, Chris Perez had quite a streak. Going back to the 2010 season, he had 16 consecutive saves and 26 consecutive scoreless innings. But in Game 4 of the series here at Kauffman Stadium on April the 21st, Royals down 2-1 in the bottom of the 9th inning, scored 2 on a rainy, windy, cold night, and split the 4-game series with Cleveland. And now the Royals haven't beaten the Indians since. They were swept at Jacobs Field April 26th through the 28th. And now if you add in this series, the Royals have been outscored by the Indians 50-11 in the last 5 games. Two and two on Betamit.
Well, the only thing we can refer to when the offense stops hitting is you look at the type of pitching that they faced, and you know the old adage is good pitching stops good hitting, and sometimes good pitching faced on a regular basis can put your offense in a slump.
Very close. Santana holding it out there for Chris Guccione. Betamit will be followed by Matt Trainer, and after that Alcides Escobar. Leadoff walk. So a good start. And now Matt Trainer. Matt Trainer hitting .247. His on base percentage is .396. 0-1. One at bat in the past against Chris Perez, and he got a hit. On the ground to third, Hanahan down to second one. Orlando Cabrera's throw is high, and it takes Laporta off the bag. So 1 on 1 out, and now Alcides Escobar. If you look at some of the closers over the last 10-15 years, many of them are former catchers, and guys who have strong arms didn't quite make it as a catcher, maybe had some difficulty hitting. One that jumps out immediately would be Troy Percival, who was an excellent closer for the Angels. Off the right field line and foul. Chris Perez was just an average catcher in high school, and then in his junior season his summer team ran out of pitchers, so his coach asked him to pitch, and as he put it, that changed his life. Ended up going to the University of Miami, where he was a closer. So this is not one of those guys with a good arm that was a starter and was groomed eventually to be a closer. He was drafted as a closer out of the University of Miami. The Cardinals took him in the first round of 2006, then traded to the Indians. Yikes. I don't know if Alcides Escobar has any idea of what just happened. He was thinking about swinging and then immediately went into keep the ball off my lips mode.
It's hard to swing and duck at the same time, and this ball ran a lot. I mean, it's almost behind him when it was caught. by Santana. So he's pretty fortunate there, especially when he's facing that pitcher, that it wasn't any more damage done on that pitch.
Now ball 1 to Mike Aviles. 0 for 4 tonight. 0 for 8 in the series. He made a great defensive play, however, to start a double play in the top of the 7th inning. An inning-ending double play. It was our defensive play of the game.
Yeah, that was runners on first and third. That could have been a big inning right there, another big inning. So anytime you see those good defensive plays like that, to get a double play, you throw your hands up and say, way to go.
Three balls, 1 strike. Well, we hope you can't hear Chris Perez in your living room. He is yelling at himself, R-rated version, as he's not getting the strikes that he would like to with a 5-run lead in the bottom of the 9th inning. And now he walks Aviles, so he's going to be more mad at himself. 2 on, 2 out. Last time Melky Cabrera faced Chris Perez here at Kauffman Stadium, he ended the game with a base hit to left field. A 2-run single to score Mitch Meyer. Alcides Escobar right behind him, and the Royals celebrated after splitting a 4-game series with the Indians, and then had that tough road trip. They went to Texas and Cleveland and went 0-6. Melky is 1 for 3 tonight with a single, a stolen base, and a walk.
There's very few closers out there too, Ryan, that could just come out in the 9th inning and just shut the inning down. Joaquin Soria was like that for most of last year, but a lot of them kind of put you through this. He hit pins and needles, walk guys get on base, and they got to really come up with a big pitch to get themselves out of trouble.
1 ball, 2 strikes.
Probably the most consistent guy is probably Mariano Rivera. I mean, he comes in, and most time when he comes in, he doesn't give any free passes. You got to earn everything you get.
2-2. Royals still need 2 more base runners for a chance. So the most important hitter at the moment is Billy Butler. He's in the hole. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Alex Gordon on deck. Runners will be going with a full count and 2 outs. And it was that type of a pitch, not that far outside, and that type of a swing, just putting bat on ball, that resulted in the game-winning hit for Melky against Perez back in April.
And he does it well with 2 strikes too. This ball is off the plate, running away, and all he wanted to do is just get the bat on the ball, and that was well outside.
Drilled to center field. The Royals will get 1 run as Trainer comes to the plate. So it is 7-3. And the Royals are 2 batters away from getting the tying run to the plate.
Well, Ryan, you paint yourself in a corner 3-2. As a hitter, you know you're going to get a fastball in this situation. And Perez puts this ball right down the middle of the plate, and Melky Cabrera didn't try to do anything but meet the ball. He had a line drive to center field and got him an RBI.
Alex Gordon 0 for 3 tonight with a walk. Cabrera moves up to second base. No stolen base, defensive indifference. Did he go? Yep, you got the feeling he did. Mark Wegner pumps the right fist, and no balls and 2 strikes on Alex. He has already struck out 3 times tonight. Twice against Carlos Carrasco, and then Tony Sipp got him in the 8th. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, that's always one of those things that hitters dread, is that 3 strikeout games. I mean, 4 would be even. Makes a long night. You can't hardly get to get back to the ballpark the next day.
The dreaded golden sombrero. A slow roller, and Laporta goes to the bag. That ends the inning. It ends the game, and it ends the series. And the Cleveland Indians beat the Royals in 2 games, 19-1 and 7-3. We'll be right back.